Alright, welcome. In the previous lesson we discussed the major players in the trucking market: shipper, receiver, broker and motor carrier. Now it's time to talk about the types of equipment. Usually dispatchers work with large 18-wheeler trucks with different types of trailers. In the US there are 8 classes of trucks that vary in shape and size. In this course our main focus is on working with the 8s, the largest class. Outside of the USA, these are often called 20-ton trucks, because they can carry roughly 20 tons or 20,000 kilos of product. A 20-ton truck is referred to as a semi-truck, and a trailer attached to it is called a semi-trailer. A truck without a trailer is called power-only, probably because that's where the engine and the driver are located, and those are the two that make the truck move in the right direction. Today, due to high prices and shortages of trailers, a very large number of companies work with this type of equipment. Instead of loading cargo in their own trailer, they pick up already loaded trailers, attach them to their power only, and transport them to their destination. A great customer example for this type of equipment is a company we all know, Amazon. They own a huge number of trailers and hire small companies to move them. Now, let's touch on the trailers. There are hundreds of types and subtypes of trailers on America's roads, each with its own specifications. But fortunately, we only need to study a few for our work, because these trailers are the most common and they're used by common carriers which we work with. A carrier who purchases a specialized or rare type of trailer is most likely doing it for a particular customer or a particular type of cargo with which he plans to work. Often such carriers already have contracts with customers and will most likely not need a remote dispatcher to choose routes and search for freight. Conversely, buying a standard type of trailer, the carrier is most likely planning to transport a large number of various goods and work with brokers. Respectively, he will need your services. Let's take a look at the main types of trailers. First, dry van is a fully enclosed box designed for the safe and reliable transportation of a wide range of goods. Practically any product can be transported in a dry van. Food and beverages on pallets, consumer electronics, building materials, plastic and plastic containers, supermarket carts, window frames, in general anything that can fit in it. The dry van's hard walls and roof provide excellent protection for the cargo from outside environment, and inside, the cargo can be secured in many different ways to avoid damage when accelerating and stopping the truck. This is why the dry van is the most common type of trailer in the United States. Let's take a look at the basic characteristics of a standard dry van. Length: 53 feet. Yes, in the USA they use feet, not meters. 1 foot is about 0.3 meters. Most standard dry vans are 53 feet long, but you can find smaller, 48-foot long ones. They are not always accepted for loading because they only hold 24 pallets, while the 53-footer holds 26 pallets. In general, most of the loads you will encounter in the market will be specifically assembled and packed for standard trailer types. Respectively, any deviations should always be discussed in advance, so as not to get into a conflicted situation at the loading point. If you ask the owner of a standard dry van what kind of equipment they have, you will often hear a phrase, "I got a 53 van." They won't even bother to say the word foot or talk about the width or the height of the trailer, because it will be obvious to everyone that they have a standard dry van. Height: 12.5 to 13.6 feet. Rarely plays a role in cargo booking and is usually never discussed. We're not going to elaborate on it at all. Standard width: 8.6 feet. Trailer weight: 14 to 17,000 pounds. Weight is measured in pounds in the US. In writing, they use the letters LBS for pounds. You need to remember that. If you see LBS, remember that's a measure of weight. 1 pound equals about 0.45 kilograms. Maximum load weight is between 43 to 45,000 pounds. Of course, in the US there are restrictions on the maximum weight of a loaded vehicle on the road. The total weight of the truck, along with the trailer and the freight, is 80,000 pounds. Accordingly, there is not exact maximum load weight, because it will always depend on how much the truck and the trailer weigh. Generally, newer trucks as well as trailers weigh less, and you can load all 45,000 pounds in them. But still, this information should always be clarified before you start working with a new carrier. Roll door versus swing door. In the roll door trailer, the door goes up and down, like a shutter, while the swing door opens like a gate. The swing door is the standard on the market, and many roll door trailers are not suitable for a standard full truck load. This is due to the placement of the load in the trailer and the maximum weight that can be put on each axle of the truck. The swing door trailer is designed to maximize your cargo space. Now for the types of freight. Categories of freight which are transported in dry vans. First, palletized. Carried on standard 48 by 40 inch pallets. For example, bottled water that goes to a supermarket. The water is first packed in boxes, which are then put on pallets. Next freight category is floor loaded. That's when a product is loaded directly onto the floor of the trailer without any pallets. For example, car tires or carpets usually will not be put on pallets. These products don't get damaged and also don't damage the trailer floor, so there's no specific need for pallets. They'll just take up space and extra weight. And the third freight type is bulk loaded. That's when a load is dumped into a trailer, for example when transporting fresh unwrapped potatoes or hay. A dump truck is a much better specialized alternative for bulk loads, but they can be transported in a dry van as well. Now, for the load security. As we mentioned earlier, a dry van protects the load from external factors, such as snow or rain, with its walls and roof. Inside the van, the load has to be secured properly, so there is no damage caused by moving around when suddenly pulling over or accelerating. Let's look at examples. E-truck. The E-truck is long rails of 12-gauge high-tensile steel with multiple anchor points to support various types of strapping equipment. Elastic straps are used to secure loads and to prevent pallets from sliding. Load locks are used in the trucking industry to secure loads during transport. They're basically rods with ratcheting mechanisms inside and are usually made of steel or aluminum. And finally, dunnage bags. These are heavy-duty inflatable bags that help stabilize and secure cargo. Now, let's move on to the next, very similar trailer type. Reefer, or refrigerated trailer, is a trailer that is used to transport perishable goods and other temperature-sensitive goods. The first refrigerated trailer appeared in the ice cream industry back in 1925. It's essentially the same as the dry van, only with a refrigeration unit. Here are some characteristics. Length 48 to 53 feet, just as with the dry van. Size 53 is standard and 48 is not common and can carry a couple pallets less. Height 12.5 to 13.6, width 8.6 feet, same as dry van. Trailer weight 14 to 17,000 pounds, again the same. Refrigerating unit weight is about 2,000 pounds on average. And maximum load weight is from 42 to 45,000 pounds. Again, there is no exact maximum weight as the trucks, trailers and reefers can vary slightly in weight. Plus, it may depend on the amount of fuel in the tank of both the truck itself and the refrigeration unit. Making sure the truck is not overloaded is a driver's job. The dispatcher just needs to know and understand these parameters when negotiating the load. Talking about temperature control. Typically, the refrigeration unit can hold the temperature inside the trailer from -20 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. This is equivalent to -28 to 18 degrees Celsius. After feet, pounds and inches, it's no surprise that Americans count temperature on a different scale too. But don't worry, you don't have to sit down and memorize all these units of measurement. When you talk to your broker about the load, he will tell you what temperature the driver has to set on the reefer unit. Here are a few examples so you can start to get an understanding of temperature settings. Ice cream is transported at -15 degrees Fahrenheit, frozen pork at 0, avocado at 38, and watermelons typically go at 45 Fahrenheit. Reefer is a great type of trailer for experienced drivers. Transporting refrigerated foods carries higher risks, and with that comes higher profit. Prices for temperature-controlled transportation are typically from 20 to 50% higher than dry van freight. In addition, some loads that can be loaded in a dry van will also work for the reefer. And the third standard type of trailer is flatbed. Flatbed is an open flat platform trailer with no roofs or wall. It's mainly used for transporting heavy, oversized, wide and unstable loads such as machinery, agricultural equipment, large construction materials, or, for example, iron coils. The flat shape of the trailer's body makes loading and unloading goods much easier, because heavy objects can be put on top of the platform using a loading crane. Here's a walkthrough of the features. Lengths from 48 to 53 feet. Flatbeds come in a variety of sizes because the equipment is so versatile, but speaking of standard trailers transported with semi-trucks, they're 48 or 53 feet long. Unlike dry vans and reefers, where you generally only work with 53 feet, 40-foot flatbeds are pretty common and will always be accepted for standard size cargo. Maximum load weight is 48,000 pounds. The trailer itself weighs less due to lack of walls and ceiling, so it can carry heavier loads. In addition, flatbeds are often used for oversized cargo, which can be larger than the permitted dimensions or heavier than permitted weight. This requires special permission and sometimes even an escort of police cars. For the load security, carrying freight on a flatbed requires the driver to have special skills in securing the load. In addition to standard straps and locks, flatbed carriers use chains, winch straps, tarp cords, corner protectors, and so on. One of the most important elements of load protection for a flatbed is a tarp. Tarp is a large cover of heavy vinyl or polyester fabric that are used to cover freight. The main purpose of the tarp is to protect the product from rain, snow, mud, and any other elements of the road. It's important to note that a tarp does not protect against heat or cold. Usually when a dispatcher is negotiating a flatbed load, he or she will make sure to check with the broker if a tarp is required. Pulling a tarp can be quite a physical demanding job for the driver. Therefore, for a load with a tarp, you typically ask for a slightly higher price than without one.